Have you been struggling for something that doesn't work out and just everything blowing up in your face? If so, you can get to a point where you start to feel like just one more thing is going to be too much to handle. Because when we try and it doesn't work and everything goes against us, then we can get to a point where we feel like we just can't handle it anymore. And we call that our breaking point. What's interesting about breaking points, though, is that there's a scripture in the Bible that tells us that that is what God sees as our breakthrough point. In other words, when it gets to the place that we can't take it anymore and we're just about to explode inside, that is the moment when God shows up and shifts everything around. Because our breakthroughs come disguised as breaking points, and we don't see the breakthrough that's there because we're blinded by the pressure that is breaking us right now. So I'm going to explore more of this with you in this video, and if you stick with me to the end, I'll share with you the secret to fast tracking your breaking point into your breakthrough moment. And I do thank you for tuning in. I'm Aaron J. Daigle, author and international speaker, and I'm pumped to have you here on the channel, the #1 place online for Christ followers to grow deeper in God and go further for God. So on this topic of being blinded by breaking points, I couldn't help but notice the like button was still a light gray color, and if we smash it to a bright blue where it blinds everyone else watching the screen, then it could give a breakthrough moment for this video, and liking it to help it break out while subscribing and turning on the notifications bell would be much appreciated on the channel. Now, to really dig in and see what we're talking about with breaking points being our breakthrough points, we have to understand the story of Jacob, and that like you and me, he went through setback after setback. He struggled his whole life. In fact, when he was in his mother's womb with his twin brother, they were struggling to come out first, and Jacob actually lost to his brother Esau, who came out first. Well, later on down the road, Jacob wants the rights as the firstborn son, and so he has to connive his way into obtaining them, thereby angering his brother Esau against him. And then later on, he wants the blessing of the firstborn son, and so he has to trick his dad into getting it. Now, when he wants to go on and get married, he tells a man that he'll work for him for 7 years if I can have Rachel, your daughter. She's just so beautiful. And the man agrees, and he works 7 years, but then the man tricks him and gives him his other daughter instead. So now he has to work another 7 years to get the woman of his dreams. It's just struggle after struggle and setback and hardship. And I wonder if you can relate to Jacob, that all your life, when you look back, if you see where you were and where you're at now, even, it's like one thing after another, just setback after setback. And then what happens in Jacob's life is his beloved wife Rachel has a son named Joseph, and then later on is giving birth to another son named Benjamin, and she dies giving birth to him. And so Jacob loses his wife and turns that affection from Rachel to Rachel's children and loves Joseph so much. That is his favorite son. And all the other brothers who Jacob had with other women are now jealous of Joseph, and so they turn on Joseph and they sell him into slavery and send him off to Egypt, then go back and tell their dad that they found Joseph's clothes out in the wilderness soaked in blood and that they think an animal killed him. And so from Jacob's perspective, he loses his wife and now he loses his favorite son, and it just grieves him inside. And I don't know what you've lost along the way, but I'm sure you, just like me, have gone through grievings and loss and heartache in this journey of life. And now, to make matters worse, there is a famine in Israel where Jacob lives, and there's no food, there's no way for him to feed his family. So he tells his children, go off to Egypt and find food, or see if we can live there, or negotiate with them and find a way to live. And so they leave Benjamin there with their dad, Joseph's youngest brother, whom Jacob loves now even more than them. And they all go off to Egypt without Benjamin and get there and talk to the man in charge. Now, little do they know, the man in charge is actually Joseph, their brother, whom they had sold into slavery many years back. But Joseph doesn't tell them who he is, and he says, why are you here? And they say, well, we're just coming to see if we can get food. And he says, no, y'all are spies. And they say, no, we promise you, we got our dad at home and our little brother over there named Benjamin, and we just want to come and see if we can make a negotiation for food or whatnot. And Joseph tells them, he says, you have a brother named Benjamin? I tell you what, to see that you're not spies, I'm going to keep this one. He points to his other brother Simeon and says, I will retain him with me. Now you go back to Israel and get this brother Benjamin of yours. So the brothers leave Egypt, go back to Jacob, who is there with Benjamin, and tell him, we need to take Benjamin as well. Oh yeah, and we left Simeon over there, but we're going to bring him back. And Jacob reaches his breaking point. This is in Genesis chapter 42, verse 36. Check out what he says. Jacob exclaimed, "You are robbing me of my children. Joseph is gone. Simeon is gone. And now you want to take Benjamin. Everything is going against me." Listen to his words. Everything is going against me. He is at his breaking point. Have you ever said, no matter what I do, it doesn't work? Everything I try is blowing up in my face. Everyone is against me. Everything is against me. That is how Jacob felt. After all these struggles, now, according to him, he believes he lost Joseph. Now he's saying, Simeon's over there. I don't know if I'm going to get him back. And now you want to take my other son, Benjamin. I just can't take it anymore. Everything's against me. I am done. But here's why I'm telling you that your breakthrough point is coming disguised as a breaking point, that you're blinded by the brokenness and the struggle and you can't see it, because that's what happened with Joseph. He couldn't see it. But what God was doing is he was taking Jacob into so much more than what Jacob believed even before his breaking point. Because even though he doesn't want to, he allows them to take Benjamin. They go back to Egypt and present Benjamin to Joseph, who then reveals himself to his brothers and says, "It's me, Joseph, and you tried to harm me, but God actually sent me here ahead of you to later on, now in this time, preserve your lives with the food that we have in Egypt. All is well. Here's your brother Simeon." They all hug, they kiss, they cry. They go back and get Jacob and they tell Jacob, "Jacob, here's Benjamin. Jacob, here's Simeon. And Jacob, your boy Joseph is actually still alive. In fact, he's in charge in Egypt and he's invited us all to go and to eat and live in the land." So Jacob gets Benjamin back. He gets Simeon back. Then he goes, gets to Egypt and eats a nice meal. And then he goes and sees his son Joseph, whom he loved and whom he had lost. It was at the moment of Jacob's breaking point, when he said, "It's all against me. I can't take it anymore," that God literally shifted everything in his world and returned what he had lost and blessed him. I'm telling you, when you feel like you can't take it anymore, like you can't pay another bill, like you can't get up and go to work one more day, like you can't fight for this marriage anymore, like you're just about to completely quit the ministry, like you cannot pray, like you cannot fast, like you're done, you're tired, and you're through. It is at that moment when God says, "Okay, now that you're at your breaking point, I am going to show up and bring you to your breakthrough point. You are going to get things that you had lost returned to you. You are going to see doors that were closed open to you. You are going to get victories in areas where you have been struggling over and over again." Why? Because you've been blinded by the pressure and the breaking point, thinking like it was all over, but really it's just been disguised. That is actually your breakthrough point. Now, I did promise if you watched all the way to the end, I would give you a secret to fast track your process from breaking point to breakthrough point. And the secret to that is to feel the fear, but to do it anyways, to embrace what it is you are afraid of that is keeping you stuck in your brokenness and not allowing you to step into your breakthrough. In Jacob's case, he was afraid to release Benjamin and send him. He already lost Joseph. He already was probably going to lose Simeon. Now he has to release Benjamin as well. Imagine how afraid he was. The fear that kept telling him, "Don't do it. This is a bad move." I'm not advocating that you go against wisdom and go against sound advice, but sometimes God will call you to step out into the unknown and to do something and to take a risk, and you're going to feel that fear. And often we sit around waiting for the fear to go, thinking that being courageous would mean that I don't feel this fear, but that's not what courage is. Courage is feeling that fear and yet embracing it and moving forward. And so if you're at your breaking point and you're afraid to move forward, you're scared to try something new or to give up something old, then I want to encourage you that the secret of fast tracking this and getting on to the next phase of life is to embrace that fear and to trust God with the unknown. Step into it, walk into it, because your breakthrough is disguised as your breaking point. So thank you for letting me add value to your life. And remember to check out the books I've published for you from the link down in the description below, and to join the community by hitting the subscribe button before checking out these videos and the playlist here for people who need encouragement in this season right now.